أحسن مثواي إنه لا يفلح الظالمون ولقد همت به وهم بها لولا أن رأى برهان ربه كذلك لنصرف عنه السوء والفحشاء إنه من عبادنا المخلصين. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Assalatu wassalam ala Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ikwanina wa uwatina fi din. Wassalamu ala taba'a huda. Lil ikwani wa uwati fi Afrika wa Europa wa America. Wa halin wa silent leku. Thank you, my dear brothers and sisters who have shown up today for this lesson. As you know, I just started this channel, and I did it in order to educate, because there's a lot of miseducation that's out on YouTube and elsewhere, and it's hurting the Muslims. And there's not a lot of education being given. There's a lot of miseducation given to Muslims. So this is the first of my Islamic talks that I will conduct. This one is the basic in dealing with our Aqeedah, and I'm using a lot of Arabic because in our language and in our deen Arabic is recommended, and it's obligation in order for you to understand the religion. And so I picked a subject from the beginning as I was taught, and this book that I'm using now is a beautiful book, very easy to understand. Of course, it's in Arabic, but it's Fasl fi Aqeedah. And our dear brother Tarifi is the author of this book, and I have read it, and I've been taught it, and I've taken more classes again on it because it's so important. And because without the basics in our religion, you cannot be successful in it. Today, if you ask Muslims, what is their Aqeedah? They don't know it. They'll give you, I pray, I make, I'm trying to improve the English word, fasting, and they'll give you other variety of things, or they'll give you a diet, which we'll get into one of these days, inshallah, where these are our doctrines. There are 4 doctrines that we are governed by, basically, that we use as a shortcut to get to the Quran and Sunnah. And so that's another story in itself. But I decided, as I said, to begin my lesson in Islam with the basics, because there's no sense you run into prayer when you don't even understand why you pray, and you don't even understand what your doctrine and your faith entails. And this is a problem among Muslims today. And as you notice, the title, I gave it Fundamentals of Faith. And then there's another title there in Arabic, which is Sunnah Istabdal, excuse me. And I will get into that. And this is a very serious Sunnah. in the sense that Subhanahu wa Taala, in His wisdom and His rahmah, has provided many things for us as far as in the samawat, meaning in the heavens, feel order, and the land, on the earth that we live in. But then there's some things that has happened that has changed many of these things. So this is how we come up with this word sunnah, istabdal. And it actually means like the way of change, or change, or a way of change. And we'll get into that as well. I'm hoping that you walk away with a little bit of knowledge about your faith for the Muslims and those who are not Muslim, who are Christians and others, that you will learn something about the Muslims, because there, again, so much misinformation out there, and it's wrong. And there's a lot of things on YouTube. Matter of fact, it's also wrong. And we have seen some of our greatest scholars now have gone by the wayside and have almost joined disbelief. And so now you have to be careful where you get your knowledge from. This is the bottom line. You have to be very careful where you get your knowledge. So, like I say, I decided to do this in order to help the brothers and sisters. And I'd like to start off with greetings here with Salam Alaikum, Isaac, and Salam Alaikum, Amina. Wa halim wa salam alaikum. I'm glad that you joined. And again, I always like to iterate, I'm not here for the views or for money or any other type of thing. I'm here only to get the ajr, the reward from Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, because this is what ultimately money would never give you that. And this is what I'm about. And also to correct some of the misinformation that we have on YouTube that's going out there today, and some of it is atrocious. So with that said, I'll start with the lesson. The fundamentals of faith, our faith, the Aqeedah in Arabic, Islamiyya, is not very difficult, to be honest. It's very natural. And once you understand it, then you walk away with that understanding that you are a Muslim. And a Muslim is a person who is submitted to Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Here we won't be talking about the Shahadatain. The Shahadatain is the article of declaration that we say to become Muslim. Because at this point now, you're already a Muslim. So now you want to learn your faith. You want to know what your doctrine is. How do I worship? And what is it that Subhanahu wa Ta'ala wants? Because this is the key. To understanding Islam, you have to understand what Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is asking. What is He asking of you? And what does He want from you? And how you can serve Him and answer to this call, this invitation from Him. Because Subhanahu wa Ta'ala tells us in the Quran that He makes the Muslims. So I cannot make a Muslim, or no other human being can make a Muslim. Subhanahu wa Ta'ala puts this in his heart or her heart, and she becomes a Muslim. Only thing we can do is convey the message to help the Muslims to become stronger, or to stay in the faith. So this is basically some of the essence of our religion. And it's not a religion, again, where it's you have time off and you have a break here and there. You can do certain things. No, there's prayers every single day, 5 times per day. And there's no weekends off, as I always like to joke about. It's every day you have to pray, and you got to pray before Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And it's raining, if it's snowing, it's very hot. There's just no weekend off, so to speak, and you have to do it. So I'll start here with the lesson at hand. Uh, the the fundamentals of our faith deals uh, uh, with learning the deen, learning the religion, where the learning about our prophet, how he received his revelation, and then how he took this revelation and he began to develop this revelation into something that, of course, as you know now, we're almost close to 2 billion strong, and he was sent as a mercy to mankind. Each of the prophets had its own mission. And our prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam, was a seal of all the prophets. And so, therefore, this is why he was given these things, which I'll get into from Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, that made him special in this regard. And so, we have to understand that the Muslim in the early stages of Islam, and even all the way to the time you die, you always learning, and you learn how to understand the Quran, and then understand the Sunnah. The Sunnah is the uh, the way of our prophet. And this is one of the keys, is the understanding. This is why we're here, to understand about these things, the Quran, because it's a serious matter. And today we have Muslims who cannot understand the Quran, Kareem, nor the Sunnah of our Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam. They're Muslims, yes, by declaration and by some of their actions. But when you get to many of them, they do not understand the Quran, or they do not understand the Sunnah as well. And so they're kind of like in limbo. And this is something that we should really try to correct, because this is hard on the Muslim community, when you have wide gaps. You have scholars and you have learned people, we call students of knowledge, and then we have the men of knowledge, who are the scholars, and then we have the students who are learning, who learn from the scholars, who convey the message to the people. And so we have this gap, and then we have the people, and we have people practicing uh, so many different types of things that are not right in Islam. So understanding your deen, your religion, and understanding the Quran and the Sunnah is imperative in your Aqidah. You have to do this. You have to understand this in order for you to be a good Muslim and to seek the reward from Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Second is learning again about our prophet. Every Muslim should understand about the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. I mean, when he was born, his parents, his upbringing, what happened, how did he become a prophet, and then as he become a prophet, then his wives, his children, all this should be known by the Muslim. When a person, a non-Muslim, comes to a Muslim and he asks a question of, and he may be interested in Islam, he come to you and he say, "Hey, Yahya, I heard your prophet had 9 wives." Say you didn't know that. Say you're puzzled. You didn't know. Or he may make another question. He may say something else to you that may be wrong, and you do not know the answer, and he tests you. And we have many Muslims today don't even know the Prophet ﷺ. Yes, they know him by name, but they don't know the history. They don't know much about him. They just I pray here and I make remembrance of Allah and on the Prophet, and I pray and I say certain things and whatnot. But I don't. But he doesn't know, or she doesn't know about the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. And part of our Akida is you should know this. You should know about this. And now with the age of technology, there's no reason why you cannot understand who our prophet was and how beautiful a man he was. and he was the best of all human creations. We're here 1400 years or so, from him, but we still love him and we still revere him, and we still try to practice what we learned from all the predecessors. And so 3 is learning the religion from the companions. This is important. Let me tell you why. The companions were there at the time of the prophet as he got his revelation from Subhanahu wa ta'ala. So our prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam, taught his companions very well. And he taught them the basics first, and he went, and of course, as the religion developed, began to teach more, because he knew that he would not survive, for 200, 300 years or 1,000 years. So he taught his companions very, very well. So his companions can teach, and then this message could carry on to what we are today. And so it's essential that we learn the deen from Subhanahu wa ta'ala, who brings down the Quran Kareem. Then he gives this revelation to our prophet, who then teaches it to his companions. His companions then teach it to their offspring, which you call the tabi'ins, and that's another lesson in itself, and those generations. And so we have many guides to go by. If you can't understand the Quran, then you try to understand the sunnah. And if you can't understand that, then you go to the companions, and there's many things written on many of the companions, and read about the companion to get a better understanding of the sunnah and get a better understanding of the Quran. If this is very difficult, then you go to the 3 successful, beautiful generations and learn, and then try to get that understanding again about the Quran and the Sunnah, which is essential in our Aqidah. You have to have that. And then the Muslim must give his obeisances. This is essential. And in Arabic is ta'at. He must have obeisances on the Amr Allah and the Amr of our Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam. When he says this is what we do it. We don't ask questions. We don't sit there and take a vote on it. We actually do it. And so you have to, and when Subhanahu wa ta'ala orders something, and you'll see times in the Quran, when you get to understand the Quran, you see him say, yeah, or you hadina amanu. This is an order he's getting you to understand. He's saying to people who believe, and he's giving you something to tell you that he wants this done. So you say, I will listen and obey. Okay. And in Arabic it was a sema-ta'a. I listen and obey, meaning I will take this command and I will do it. Now, of course, there's hundreds of commands. We're human beings. We make mistakes. It's not saying that just because you can't follow every single thing that you're wrong. No, we have remedies for that. That remedy is prayer and asking for forgiveness. But in this episode here, we're talking about the essence of our religion. And alhamdulillah, our religion is beautiful and it's simple. It's not difficult, but people make it difficult. And we know our enemies also make things difficult as well. And so now we go to another part. We have something where we talk about our obeisances, our ta'at on the Amr of Allah. When you give your bay'ah is your pledge, and that's something too that's very beautiful in Islam. And we don't have that today because we don't have a khalifa, and we don't have we don't have the khalifa. We don't have that, or we don't have a true Amir Mu'mineen of all of the Muslims. We have 57 nations that are classified as Islamic, but we don't have one ruler. So we don't have this this beautiful thing that we have, which is called the bay'ah, in Arabic, where you make your pledge to the ruler, and it's a beautiful thing when you pledge yourself to the ruler. And those are things too, as part of our Al-Qaeda, but that's deeper into it. But I'm only mentioning it to you to show you that in our religion, it's key that those who are in charge of us, that we follow them. Now, not blindly, I don't mean that way, but we follow. This is the key to the essentials of our Akida, is to to follow our leaders. You have to. This is a must. When they err, of course, there's things that we do, but we're not going to get into that right now. The one of the essentials, again, of our religion is that you believe in Subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's no assigning partners to him, meaning you can't believe in Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala 3 days a week, and then 2 days a week you believe in something else. No, this is not Islamic. You believe in Subhanahu wa ta'ala only, and you worship him only. You pray to him only. This is a key. This has to be understood. We pray to him only. We don't pray to our prophet, alayhi salatu salam. No, he never taught us that. We do. He says in the hadith, you pray as he prays. So he didn't say these things. He didn't say you pray to him. We pray to Subhanahu wa ta'ala only. And you also have to believe in our prophet, alayhi salatu salam. Now, someone to say, well, look, Yahya, I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus, Isa, we call him in Arabic. So we have a conflict here. But I want to be Muslim, but I still want to follow Jesus, alayhi salatu wasalam. The answer to that is this: the revelation that came, and if you have to understand the way of the prophets, if you read and understand the history, and you find out from all the scholars of ages, the Jewish scholars, the Islamic scholars, the Christian scholars, they'll tell you that there's a method that happens when the prophet gets his prophethood. Now, in this case here, to make the short, our prophet received his revelation. That means he abrogates all the other religions, and the other way. You had to follow him. This is an obligation. This is what we are taught, and this is part of the prophethood. So those who follow Jesus, alayhi salatu wasalam, must follow our prophet. And if you read even in the Bible, it gives you indications that this must be done. But of course, many Christians today do not follow that. They refuse to follow that, and they don't believe in that. And that's too bad, because essentially they cause themselves some trouble when they don't follow their own books. And Subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran Kareem has talked extensively about the Jews and Christians and how they went away from their books. Now we get to an area. We have to understand something. All the prophets of every era, the ones we know and the ones we don't know, were Muslims. Subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that, meaning they submitted to Subhanahu wa ta'ala. They did not assign partners to him. All of the prophets were Muslims. It's only that the people changed that, but not our prophets. And of course, the adventation of racism and prejudices, and when certain people took over certain religions, they begin to add their own racial makeup to the religion, as we understand, like Christianity has done in a lot of ways, and even the Jewish religion has done in some ways too, where they added racial mixtures in this in order to stay on top. And this is wrong. In Islam, we don't have that. There's no such thing, as our prophet told us, that a black man is superior to a white man, or a white man is superior to a black man. These are essential essence of our religion. We don't believe in that. We don't believe that any person, a Mexican is superior to a Guatemalan, or a Brazilian is superior to a Jamaican. No, this is not. The best of us is taqwa, what we have in our heart, meaning our worship and our fear, Subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is how we judge from that. We're not judged by the color and how tall we are, how black we are, or how white we are. We're not judged that way, and this is wrong. This is again some of the bare essence of our Aqidah. You cannot believe like this. It's wrong. We promote harmony, meaning human beings. Period. If you're Muslim, we believe in that. I don't care if I'm a black man and I wanted a wife and she's Swedish, and even if she's white as the snow, so to speak, she's eligible for for marriage with me. Or a German gentleman who comes to Islam and he decides he finds a African American woman who has become a Muslim. They can marry. There's no precondition saying that no, well, you German, you only marry Germans. African Americans marry only African Americans. Not in our religion. We don't believe in that. There's nothing like that. So I wanted to make that clear, because there is some of the subcontinent where they have caste systems where they won't allow you to marry others, but that's not Islamic. That's their own ideals. Now we get to area again where we talked about our lives as a Muslim. Our lives are governed around our worship and our prayer. This is essential. When you get up in the morning, you make your ablution and you prepare yourself for prayer. And there's things that you say even when you get out of the bed. There's things that you say before you enter the bed at nighttime. And then when you get up in the morning, there are things that you say. And then, of course, when you have to visit the restroom, there's things that are said before you go in there, and then things that you say when you come out of it. Again, every step of ways, there's something to help you to become closer to Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And you should always be thankful when you talk about something of the restroom, because we are human beings. We have things that we must do to remove the impurities from our body. So Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has made that so. So we give that blessing to him, that he allows us to remove these impurities. So we say certain things when we come out, even if it's a small, Bismillah, or before you enter, or even something small. There's other things that you can say, but you give your gratitude. And that's another thing, some essentials of our faith. It's the gratitude. You must have gratitude. You must humble yourself. You must have this gratitude towards Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. You have to. And you have to humble yourself. And you must have this gratitude for the Prophet ﷺ as well. Because why? We are privileged to have this religion, and we are privileged to know about a man, Muhammad Abdullah, our Prophet ﷺ. So we are blessed in that regard, where others do not know him and they are sitting behind the 8 ball, so to speak. But we know him and we love him and we follow him. And so we have a advantage that most other people do not have, because they don't even talk about their prophets who they claim they follow, and they don't even love their prophets. But in our religion, it's an article of faith that we believe in our prophets, all of them, and we revere them. There's no such thing as a Muslim come forward and he vilifies Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. No, it's an article of faith that you believe in Jesus alayhi salatu wasalam. You cannot diss him. You cannot talk against him or any other prophets. And Subhanahu wa Ta'ala tells you, don't make distinctions between them, because each one has its own mission. So it's not for us to judge. It's not for us to judge. So I want to make that clear, because again, that's essential parts of our religion, of our Aqidah, our faith is that. And this is very, very important. Now, we also, in the essential part of our religion, is the I guess would you call the walah wa braha in Arabic, which has to do with the loving of the Muslims, the ummah, which is the community of the Muslims, and then hating fi sabili Allah, meaning not hate because you hate the person because he's black. You hate meaning that you do not like, say, the people who do not believe and they do things wrong. Okay, no. A prime example of that is the ex-president that from America, you know what I'm talking about, President Trump. We are to hate him according to our religion and our ideals and what we believe that we know is right and decent. We hate him because of that, not because he's a white man or Tubac. No, we can't hate him for that. We can hate him for what he is and his politics of the Dajjal, the Antichrist, and so forth and so on. We hate him because of that, and not because he's a white man, Tubac. We cannot do that. But we can hate vis-a-vis Allah Ta'ala in the cause of Allah, his way. We can hate that type of person. But we love and we treat our own, the Muslims, with love and respect. This is the wallaha, right? This part here where we treat and love one another and we respect one another. And Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has put this in the Quran, talking to the Prophet, ﷺ, talking about he shows mercy towards the believers and he's stern against the disbelievers. This again is the essence of our religion, of the Aqeedah. You see, a prophet shows mercy towards his believers, okay? And then he is stern, meaning he's forceful against the disbelievers. And so this is a very essential thing that we have to understand as Muslims. And so I will go on a little bit and then I will stop a little bit if there's any questions. Now, there's a proof of what we're talking about here that in Surah 3, Al Imran 19, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala here talks about the deen. The deen that's close to him is Islam, and if you pull that out, you'll see, and this is again the third surah, Al Imran, and it's the Hayat 19, and Subhanahu wa Ta'ala talks about this, and again, in Islam, I want you to understand, we have to have proofs. We have proof, and another Muslim has the right to ask this Muslim about something that he has said. Okay, this is essential again in our faith because we are human beings and we do make mistakes, and so the Muslim must adhere to these principles, these simple principles. If a Muslim comes to you and he talks to you about something and you're not sure about it, there's no harm in going to check it out. Matter of fact, you should do it. You should not follow somebody, me or anyone, blindly. You should check it out. If you feel that it's wrong, you go check it out and check out the sources. Now, speaking of that, this is essential what I just said, the sources. This is a very, very interesting thing because we see today people are pulling things out of the sky. It has nothing to do with the Quran and the Sunnah. We see a lot of that today, and they're making it so as though it's coming from that. And this is wrong. So I'll stop a little bit here, and I don't see anyone new here. Oh, yes, Abina, Assalamu alaikum, dear sister. Thank you for coming. Ahlan wa sahlan lek. I'm happy that I'm here today to give you guys this, this lesson on the fundamentals of our Aqidah. And alhamdulillah, wa rabbil alameen, that we're Muslim. And those who are not Muslim, we hope that you join us because this is a beautiful religion once you understand it in its entirety. And I'm here to try to help you to understand the basics of it so you can love your religion and love yourself more once you understand your religion. Okay, so I'll continue now. Okay, what is Islam? Islam is something that is not, the Prophet said, yes, this religion will begin strange, it will end strange in a hadith. And it's funny that he says that, but it's true when you think about it, how it's treated. But our religion, Islam, is submission. And all the prophets submitted, and all those who submit to this Tawheed oneness of God is Islamic. Okay, it's Islamic. And you take your submission not only from the mouth, but you also take it with your heart. And so the Muslim, the true Muslim, works for his deen. He uses everything. He uses his hands. He uses his mouth. He uses his tongue. His eyes. He uses his brain, and to further the cause of Islam. And meaning inside your house with your wife, and you teach your wife, and your wife, of course, is the first teacher of the child, and she teaches that the child the Islam. And so the submission is the essence of being a Muslim, is the submission, not just by talking, but by deeds and actions, by, again, with your hands, your mouth, your tongue, your eyes, and your brain. This is the central part of the submission in Islam. And the proof of this part about the submission is in the second surah, Baqarah, and 87. And here, subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the second surah and the verse 87 that all the prophets essentially were Muslims. They were all Muslims, and they submitted. And it's a beautiful thing when you have the Creator who gives you something to understand the world. This is something that we have that others do not have. We have an understanding about the world that's greater than most other people do, because subhanahu wa ta'ala has conveyed that message to our Prophet, salam, who's then conveyed that message to companions, then the tabi'in, the first generations, and to our famous scholars, all the way to humble persons like myself. And so this is a beautiful religion in that we have an understanding of things about the world that many other people don't quite understand and don't have. Because why? We have a light from subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a key. We have the light from subhanahu wa ta'ala who gives us this extra knowledge about the world, how the dunya, we call it in Arabic, about how the world operates. And so we have that good understanding. This is why if you learn in the early ages of Islam, all the way up to about the 13th, 14th century, the scientists were governed by us. That's right. We govern the sciences. And you look, how about the map? Who made the first world map? Huh? Was it the Greeks? No, it wasn't. It wasn't our ancient brothers in Egypt, our black brothers of Egypt. No, but the Muslims did this. They created the first map of the world. So these are some of the things because subhanahu wa ta'ala gave that knowledge to. And now, another central part of our faith, essential, is that you have to believe that subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down guidance, okay, and the truth to our prophet. Because this is essential, again, that you believe that subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the message, invitation, and a way of life to our prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam. You have to believe in this. If you have doubt that this message is not divine, and so some have seen me on other channels where I've had arguments because people didn't believe that. They believe some parts of Islam, but they believe in other things as well. And you see me go at these persons fi sabi Allah ta'ala, not hate because I hated them. No, I went to protect our religion, protect from the corruption from it, and not so it would not be corrupted. Because there's a lot of people who today, as I said, on YouTube who are corrupting religion, and I can't fight them all. But those who I have come in front of me, and they come with the craziness of trying to take the Muslims from Tawheed, I fight them with what I can, with my hands, mouth, whatever way I can fight them to bring back to protect our deen and to protect our brothers and sisters from this corruption. And you must believe that subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him this guidance. This is essential. And if you don't believe that, then you're not a Muslim, because the essence, again, of Islam is the revelation, that you believe that the revelation actually happened. Because if you look at the Quran, you have to ask yourself a question. even the Muslims. When you read this, how can a human being have this type of knowledge? You just cannot. There's things in it that the inner workings of how the baby's created. Subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the insight, and it was finally proven by many scientists thousands of years later. But our prophet knew this 1400 years ago because he got it from Subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he talks about the embryo, the woman, and the stages of birth. What human being has that kind of knowledge? He had to get it from Subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is why I'm saying it's essential that you as a Muslim, that you believe in this revelation. And that book, the Quran, Kareem, that we read, that it is a divine revelation. If you believe that this book came from somewhere else, or you believe that like the Bible is done now, where you have many different authors to it, and now we know that some of the stuff is false that they put in the book. If you believe that about the Quran, then you have a problem. Your faith is corrupted, and you most likely you're not a Muslim, because you cannot have this corruption. If you believe that even one word in the Quran is wrong, then you're out. You must believe in it from the top of the first ayat in the Quran to the last. You must believe in its message. You cannot say, well, I believe chapter the Surah 44, but I disbelieve in the Surah 5. I don't like it. You can't do that. This is essential again, that if you do something like this, you're out as a Muslim. Again, I gave another proof is Al-Imran, which is the third surah, and the height is 25. And again, the Subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the revelation that he sent, and you have to understand that and believe in that. Again, as I said, if you don't believe in that, then you're out. I had a debate here weeks back in another station where we had an individual who thought and said openly that the revelation from the Quran came from Messer, from Egypt, and that it came from their scholars and some other types of worship that our ancestors, traditional African religions had, and this was a predecessor to the Quran. This is blasphemous, and I corrected this situation by arguing the merits of our case against this type of thing. There's no such thing as that. The Quran is a divine revelation, and on top of that, the hadiths that you heard about and that many Muslims read today, that's a revelation too. Because how can our Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam, understand the Quran? He has to have some divine intervention to understand it. Because you see, when you read it, it's very difficult to understand. You have to have the interpretation of it. This is where our Prophet and our scholars come in, and people of knowledge, to help the Muslims to understand, because it's not easy to understand. And so our Prophet in his hadiths, he had this revelation. Subhanahu wa ta'ala explained to him how you interpret the Quran. And this is essential again in the fundamentals of the faith of our Aqidah is the understanding again of the Quran, the revelation from Subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that our Prophet got this revelation, and then in his Sunnah he began to take the Quran, and then he began to decipher it, and then he give it to us so we can we learn. If you notice something about the Quran, there's talk about prayer in there, but he didn't say how many times you pray and how many prostrations you do. You see? But the revelation from Subhanahu wa ta'ala gave our Prophet, who explained to him, he said, okay, the first prayer, you only do 2 prostrations, which is Fajr. And then your second prayer of the day, which is Door, then you do 4. You see what I mean? So in order for you to understand what you see inside the Quran, you see about the Salat, about prayer. But then the non-Muslim said, well, look, I don't understand this. I see my friend, he makes 5 prayers, but I don't see it in the Quran. Yes, you don't see it there. You have to find it in the hadith of the Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam, who explains the Quran. So he explains about the Salat, meaning how many times you pray, okay, in each of these prayers. And so this, again, is beautiful, our dear brothers and sisters. that our prophet received this information to convey it to us that we do today. Now, we have also something too that I have to get into about the central part. We have to understand the history of the Jews and the Christians. That's a must. We know that there's problems with our Christian brothers and our Jewish brothers in them following the book. We know this. Okay, we understand that. Essential part of our faith is that we understand they had these problems. The Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has made it clear in the Quran that they did have these problems, and he warns us about their problems, that we don't follow them. And some of it is very obvious. I don't have to go deep into many of them, but we understand the book, especially the Christians. You have 140 or more different versions of it today. That's right, 140 different versions of it. So which one is really Subhanahu wa Ta'ala's word? Which one? Which of the 140 is actually the true one? When I was a Christian, I used to talk about this many times. I was Christian, and our teacher who would give us the Bible lessons, he would tell us to pull out a certain verse in the Bible, and the 5 people began to read it off. Each one of us spoke something different on the same verse, and it's like echo. I was saying one from the same verse, one sentence, the other one was saying something else in there. They changed it up many times over. So each one of us is saying something different from the same verse. We don't have that problem in our book. We don't have that problem. It's recited the same everywhere in the world. I don't care if it's Los Angeles or it's Istanbul. When they make prayer, it's recited the same. When that man takes that evening and he sits down with his son and he reads the Quran to him, that man who's sitting in LA with that Quran reading to his son is the same recitation that the man in Turkey who's reading to his son, he's doing the same thing from the same verse. There's no corruption. There's no different versions of that. There's no Turkish version or there's an African-American version of it. No, there's one version of it. We all recite the same. That's the beauty of Islam. The others cannot say that because they have 140, especially the Christians. They have 140. The Jews have 2 books. Subhanahu wa Ta'ala authorized one that he gave, which is the Torah. But the Jews made another one, the Talmud. And so they followed 2, essentially. And Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is mad about that because he's revealed this in the Quran. So a central part, again, of our Aqidah is that we have to understand that our brothers, the Christians and Jews, which we call them that. Why? You say, what? Yahya, why don't we call the Taoists or the Shinto from Japan who worship the Buddhists, some who worship animals and so forth? Why we don't call them brothers? Because the 3 religions are very close together. Christianity, Islam, and Judaism are sisters and brothers. That's right. When it's done right, we are sisters and brothers. And so we're the closest to one another. We're not close to the Hindus. We're not close to the Taoists. We're not close to the Shinto in Japan. We're far removed from them. But we have very similarities between the Christians and Jews. This is why they're brothers to us in this sense, because we have essentially the same. Now, of course, they corrupted their religions. We understand that. But in the Asıl, the original, we are very, very close. And so I wanted to make that clear. Our religion, again, is something that we have to practice. And we have to practice it, and we have to practice it thoroughly. Meaning, just because you take your shahadatain and you say you're Muslim, that doesn't mean that you're finished. That's it. Now you can go back to like I say, go back to partying and drinking and so forth. No, it's a living religion, even governing everything that you do. This is a central part of our Aqidah. Even inside your household, your relationship with your wife, that's governed. Your wife's relationship with the children, that's governed inside Islam. Her relationship with her husband, that's governed. Our neighbors, there's rules in reference to that. There's rules even with the enemy, and there's rules even with our brothers and sisters. So our religion, it's governed by every step of the way to help you in this worldly life, which is so cruel, as we all know. And this is a central part for the Muslims to understand that this worldly life is only a short passing. That's why it's so difficult. And in order for you to conquer it, so to speak, the only way you can conquer it is not through money. It's not through riches or becoming the president of the United States or president of some head of state. No, it's by mastering the religion that will take you to the hereafter, which is Islam. You master that, that's where you're going to go. It's not how much money you got. You can be a billionaire. And if you look at the essence of this, you think about this when you use the mind. Look at our ex-president. That man is full of money, but look at his life. Look how he is. He's not happy. You rarely ever see this man smile. He's got money, more money than he probably could spend. And hopefully he'll lose some of it if they go after him, which they should in the United States. But he's unhappy. So it goes to show you that money does not bring you that. But the love of Subhanahu wa ta'ala and his religion does bring you this type of happiness. And when you get to explain his religion, it's a joy. When you get to walk it and you talk it and you pray and you talk to other people about it, that's the joy. There's no money in the world can bring that. Yes, you can have temporary joy when someone gives you $1 million. I'm gonna buy a car, I'm gonna buy a house. But essentially, you buy that, and then 3-4 months, the problems that you thought you escaped come back again. It's funny, isn't it, how the dunya, the world is. You buy, and you think you're on top of the world. All of a sudden, here's something happened here. Here's a lawsuit here. Here's accusation here. One of your children got kicked out of school. All of a sudden, all that money that you thought was happiness was brought back to reality. This is something that we're taught as Muslims not to rely on the dunya, because we know it's short passing, we know it's cruel. We don't rely on it. We try to defeat it because we want to defeat it in order so we can go up to heaven, to Jannah. Now, I have a lot of different verses of the Quran to back up this my talk today, and I'll go through the second meaning here of Islam here. The second meaning of Islam again is the the submission, but the submission now to Tawheed, the Tawheed meaning the oneness. You cannot assign partners. You cannot do that. And also the believing that the message of our prophet and his invitation, you must believe that. This is the second part of Islam that you have to. And now comes the practice. And the second part of Islam is the practice, the prayer, the fasting, the everyday life as a Muslim. This is the second part of Islam, what Islam actually means, is the implementation of Islam. Salat, prayer, how you dress, what happens when you have relationships with your wife, the children, how they're supposed to be taught. When are the children allowed to pray, and when can you get on them when they don't pray? All this type of thing. Now the implementation of Islam is important. And now one of the parts of the second part of the religion is the changing of it. You can't change the religion. Subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Ma'idah that he perfected the religion. So he said he perfected it 1400 years ago. You can't come back today in this day era and change it. But we do have people who have tried to do that and who are actually doing it. It's wrong. You cannot. This is not Islamic. You are to practice what you are ordered to practice, and there's no question asked. Meaning, I'm talking about from the Quran and the Cream. Now, if I come to you and tell you something and you have a problem with that, then yes, you have the right to check that out. But if you get the answer from the Quran, you can't come back and say, you know what, I question Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why did he order us to pray? Why did he order us to do this prayer anyway? I don't feel like it on Saturdays, Sundays. I'm tired from work. I don't want to pray. You can't do that. You have to submit to that order. Regardless, you have to submit to it. The submission is a key essence of our faith, is submission, meaning things that you like and things you dislike. And we're human. We have doubt on some things. It's normal. But that doubt should not graduate to where it takes you away from Tawheed. As I told you before, one of the essential things about the second part of Islam, what Islam means, is the Salat. There's Muslims today, as we know, they don't pray, and they say they're Muslims. Well, out of the doctrine, there's 4 doctrines. 3 of the doctrines say that the person does not pray, they are disbelievers. One of the doctrines, of 4 doctrines, said no. One of them said, no, we don't believe him to be unless he declares his kufr, his disbelief. But the other 3 of the doctrines, the famous doctrines, the 4 doctrines I talked about earlier, 3 of them said that a person who doesn't pray is not a Muslim. But the 4th one said, well, we want something more in order. But what is closer to the truth? If you look at the hadiths of Prophet Sallam about the prayer, he said that the person doesn't do that. It's kufr, it's disbelief. And he uses a analogy that he says in the hadith. He says, what is the farqa baina Muslim and a disbeliever? Is the salat. Now, what does that tell you? So more truer to which one is the person a believer or a disbeliever by the salat? By the own words of our Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam, he said the differences between us and those who don't believe is the prayer. So that means if you abandon the prayer, you will what? You're like the others, right? That's essentially what is being said in this hadith. And so salat is so important. Without it, I don't know how you can be a Muslim. Because when you're going to find time to pray to Subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you're going to have time, that closeness to get to him, the only way you can do that is through your prayer. Yes, you may dicker and so forth, but it's not the same. Subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to make the prostration because prostration makes you humble. Why do you think the Europeans took the prostrations away from the Christians? Because he could not stand to prostrate himself before Subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why the Tubab changed Christianity. One of the reasons he changed it, because he did not want to make prostrations, because he knows that the Jesus alayhi salatu wasalam, Moses alayhi salatu wasalam, all of the prophets made prostrations before Subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Tubab, and you guys check this out, it's true. The Tubab, the wicked Tubab, okay, the Europeans took the religion and they took the prostration away. Now you stand and you do this because he was setting you up what? To begin to worship his likeness, which we know is prominent today. You here in Africa, in many parts of the world, even LA or Dallas, you find African Americans, Africans, you'll find all kind of racist people. You walk in the house, you see what? You see a picture of a Tubab. And he says Isa alayhi salatu salam. Blonde hair, blue eyes, and so forth and so on. See, and again, this corruption, because they went away from their books. And we're blind. Many African Americans are blind to see that. If they do the research and history, say, you know what? That's funny. I see Jesus made prostrations. Why was it changed? Well, who changed that? It was the Tubal who changed that. But that's another story. But I just wanted to make that point to tell you that we have wicked people from every era who change things around. And we have that in the Muslims today as well, who trying to change religion. And that's where we should fight them. Okay. As I talked about before, the essence of Islam is the oneness of Subhanahu wa ta'ala, believing in his book, believing in our prophet, believing that the revelation is true, and that you believe it, and you listen and you obey his orders and the orders of his prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, without question. When he says we fast in this month, you don't sit there and question that. You do it. And this is the essence of our Aqeedah. It's essential essence of that. It's that believing that. Yes, you may have some little doubt because we're human beings. You know how we are. We're human beings. We have a little doubt, but we sima-ta'a. We listen and we obey, and we do that. That's an essential part in our governing of that. Um, now, I'll get into a subject because this is, I'm hoping not to go long today because this is such a central thing. I have to maybe extend some of this because I want to only go for a short time, but I can't because we have so much here and I want to cover some other things about some other issues. So I will come back to the other parts in another day or so, inshallah ta'ala, meaning if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills that. But I'm going to cover this part. When brothers and sisters gather together and they form a group, okay, Muslims, okay, brothers and sisters or brothers, 5, 6, 7, 30, 100, 2,000, 6,000, and they form a group we call Jama'at Islamiyah in Arabic, an Islamic group, and they practice Islam, they promote Islam, and so forth. Our Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam, this is one of the essential parts of our faith, had some stern words about us. He said in this hadith, and it's famous, and he talked about the Christians and Jews as well in this. He said that in the time, there will be 73 Jama'at Islamiyah. Remember, Islamic groups who practice Islam. Some have beards like me. They wear turbans. Or some have beards down to the ground. Some wear clothes, all black clothes. Some don't wear Islamic clothes. They wear suits and tie, and they wear kufi. You have all kind of different types of Muslims today in all kind of groups. Our Prophet ﷺ said something very interesting. He says 73 of these groups, right? He talked about them. Some like me, look like they take religion strong. And then guess what? He says only one will go to Jannah. 72 of those groups will go to the fire. Why? Because they did not follow his way. This is essential to understand. Our Prophet ﷺ talked about this issue, and we see it today. There's Islamic groups all over the place. And when you get inside the groups, you find that they're following bizarre things. You don't follow that. You jump out of that. Anybody who's don't follow the Quran and Sunnah, you have nothing to do with them. You get away from it because they'll take you to the fire. This is why it's essential that you have the essentials of your Aqidah in order to fight these kind of people. Because if you can't, you'll be one of the 72 that's going to the fire. So you have to understand your religion and the essence of your faith in order for you to do it right. Because you can get fooled. I don't care who you are. There's some people out there with beautiful speech, and some of the brothers are handsome and some of the sisters are beautiful. And they take you from the Amr, the command of Allah, and the Amr, the command of our Prophet. And they'll say, you follow this, this is what you can do. And when in fact, there's no basis by it because you can't find it in the Quran or the Sunnah. You must reject that. That is a part that I wanted to get out to you about that. Now, I got to talk about this, the tafsir of the Quran. Reason why I got to talk about this because I've had some disagreements with some people, with some brothers who have erred in some ways in regards to this. It's a shame that this has to happen like this, but it's growing pains, I always say. There's a method of the tafsir of the Quran, and it's dangerous. If you do not follow that, you can get the punishment of subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's methods on how to make the tafsir, how you follow it. And you must follow it to that method, and you must be taught it. You do not, I say to you, my brothers and sisters today, you be careful what you see on YouTube. I'm telling you that now, because someone will take you from that. You be very careful. You'll see them talking about something of the Quran, and you see them making up something from the Quran when it's wrong. And this is one of the things I told you earlier, I used a word for it. Subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about this. And the scholars of all have talked about this as well. And subhanahu wa ta'ala has even made some verses about this issue. And we have differences with some brothers who feel that they don't need to understand the tafsir. They can just go and dance around the tafsir. They can give you a verse from the Quran and dance around it, or they'll give you something, another verse. It's wrong. You can't. So I had arguments with some brothers here. I don't need to talk about who they are. Some brothers in the past that who differed with me on this issue. They felt that they didn't have to follow that. Well, I don't know where they got their teachings from, because no teacher of mine ever taught me that. And even every book I've read, there's no such thing as that. We cannot, as Muslims, take the Quran, take a verse, and then talk about it without knowledge. Subhanahu wa ta'ala tells you in the Quran, he's got a spot there. He tells you, don't talk about him unless you know. That's blunt, isn't it? He says this in the Quran. Don't talk about him unless you know. That's a stern warning. But we have brothers today, they get on YouTube, just talking, and what they're doing, they're not following the line of tafsir that's supposed to be. That's proven, tested and proven and correct. They make up anything they want in there. And I give you an example what I'm talking about. There's Surah Maryam, beautiful, about Mary, alayhi salatu wasalam, the mother of Jesus. The brother would take this particular surah, and then he would use and go and bring another surah to complement it. It's not the same. And we have a name for this. We call it tahrif kalam, corruption of the word. This is what that's right. This is fiqh. That's right. And they don't know that. They thought that it's okay. You can take the Quran and talk any way you want, or take a hadith and talk the way you want. No. It's called tarif al-kalam, corrupted words, meaning you take the hadith and you don't know it. And the method that you have to understand on the Quran is the first thing. If you see a ayat in the Quran, a verse in the Quran, the first thing to find the most significance of it, the best way is find another verse that's similar to it or is complemented. Okay, you have to find. This is the sense of tafsir. I want everybody to understand that, because we have brothers on YouTube will tell you, no, look, I'm gonna do it this way. Okay, I don't have nothing to do with them. That's why I'm telling you, this is the proven method, and we have proof of this by the Quran. I don't go by what they say. I go by what the Quran says. And you've tried to find this verse. So you have one verse. I'll give you an example what I'm talking about. We had a dear sister, and this is a serious case. We had a dear sister. It was out in LA, okay, and her husband was about ready to come to Islam. And because they were having marital problems, and this brother would at work start talking to the brother and convinced him and helped him in his problems inside of his house. So the brother was close to Islam, very close to taking his declaration. His wife was skeptical. When she went to go drink coffee or something or whatever it was with her friends, one of the girls said, don't go to Islam, because there's a verse in the Quran, it's against the woman. Your husband can do this to you. And the verse we're talking about is in Surah Nisa 4, and the Surah 4, where Subhanahu wa Ta'ala talks about a case where you had women who were harlots, and they were going around, and you know what harlots do. We don't need to get into that. But they were doing this during the Prophet's time. He didn't know what to do to handle them. So Subhanahu wa Ta'ala gave a order to confine them to the house. You see where I'm going with this? Somebody told her that the husband, a Muslim husband, he gets mad. He said, look, I'm tired of you. He can make an allegation against his wife, and he can keep her like in lock and chain. This sister, when she heard that, okay, she went back to her husband and told her husband, he didn't know, because he didn't know, he's not Muslim yet. He went to the brother said, I was not versed on it. She went to a brother on YouTube, I found out. This brother's on YouTube as we speak. He gave the wrong information. I'm not going to give his name. He comes on YouTube, and he gave the wrong information to the sister. He told the sister this correct. Yes. Now, this is going to cause a divorce, because he was going to come to Islam. His wife's not going to come to Islam. The Muslims must marry a Muslim. that would have caused their marriage to dissipate, to be gone, because of the ignorance of one who did not understand the Quran. He should have shut up and went and tried to find information. But no, he went to talk it. And this brother's on YouTube today talking. And he misled somebody who could have led to the divorce. And so when it came to me, I heard about it. I said, who did this? Who told you this? When they told me the name, I was shocked who the person was. I was shocked. So I said, no, sister, please don't listen to this. Don't listen to that. I got the answer for her quickly because I know Surah Nur, okay, the second, and there's some other surahs. Nur is, I think it's 25. It's Surah 24, I think it is. It's 24. And in there, Subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about abrogating that part. So no man, husband, can do this to his wife, chain her up inside the house until she's dead. But because of the ignorance, this sister didn't want to come to Islam because of that particular verse. Now, you understand what I mean by when you don't understand the Quran and you don't understand the tafsir. If he understood the tafsir, he would try to find the verse to see if it would have been abrogated. He didn't. He said the verse is true, that your husband can keep you in the house. No, my dear brothers and sisters, this is wrong. And if I ever get a chance to talk to this brother, I will talk to him about the errors of the way. I don't know if he knows what he's done, but I know what he's done. And this is what I was talking about. There's a method on how we do the tafsir. Now, the first method, again, the best method is to find a corresponding ayat in the Quran. If you can't do that, then you go to the hadiths of the Prophet ﷺ. Okay, this is the second. I'm going pretty fast now. Now, the third part is if that's not, you can't still find something that's coordinated to that, then you go to the companions, because the companions were with the Prophet ﷺ, and maybe they talked about this issue, so you can get a better understanding about the particular verse in the Quran. See, this is the third. And the fourth is you go to the men of knowledge. Okay, you go to the tabi'in and you go to the famous scholars, the four great imams, rahimahullah jami'an, and look in there to see if you can find that. This is essential. And that way you are following the tafsir. And that's why I wanted to bring that story to you, my brothers and sisters, about this issue, because it's so bad that they could have divorced. And this brother's on YouTube today talking. And you know what? He's still doing the same thing. He doesn't even use the tafsir. He talks. He breathes something out and he doesn't use the tafsir. And someone should take him off the YouTube because it's wrong. Because what he's doing, and he's misleading people, and he could have caused a divorce. And luckily, alhamdulillah, I was there, and somebody told me about the case, and I helped this dear sister. And from what I understand, they came to Islam. That's beautiful. They both came to Islam, and they accepted Islam, and alhamdulillah for that. So it's essential that we as Muslims understand, how do you do the tafsir of the Quran? And again, my dear brothers and sisters, knowingly or whatever, the schools of thought differ on the punishment. But Subhanahu wa ta'ala says it's a punishment behind that. Don't misuse his words. This is a central key in understanding Islam. Don't do that. If you do not know, just say, but you go study and study and study, study. All of us had to do the same thing. I wasn't like I am now, 15 years later. I didn't know anything. I had to keep studying and keep studying. And I had knocks. I got beaten up. A lot of times I had things wrong, but I had to do these things in order to progress. And this is what I'm saying to you today. The tafsir of the Quran is serious business. And I say to you now, you be careful what you see on YouTube. When you see the people get on YouTube and they use a verse and they don't understand it and they start talking generalizations, you should ask them in the chat room, where are you getting your sources from? Because they're wrong. And when I had a debate with some people about this, with some so-called brothers about this, they were more interested in other things than the truth. They wanted to dance around the thing. I said, no, I'm not going to be no party to that. And we as Muslims are ordered to talk the truth. because we don't want to hurt the other Muslims. We want to, because Muslim, aku Muslim. This is the order of our prophet, meaning a Muslim is a brother to a Muslim. Why should I mislead my brother? Why? It's a grave sin. It's people on YouTube today are doing that. They're misleading, knowingly or unknowingly. I don't know which one. I don't care. It doesn't make a difference. But they are misleading, and it's wrong. And so you be careful, my dear sisters, brothers. Excuse me. On YouTube, be very careful what you see. And you know about the scholar. I can't think his name now. Kadri, that's over in Memphis, Tennessee. He made a big thing here when he made his declaration about that we can have grave worship, and all the scholars of around the world went after him for it. Here's a famous scholar. What happened to him, we do not know. But there's scholars like this that happened. That one of them I used to see on this one Islamic channel here in Morocco, and he used to be strong. One day he came on TV. He removed his whole beard. He looked like some businessman out of New York City, and he said he was making dawah. All of a sudden, he was gone out of religion. He was a scholar. So things are happening. The devil is reaching even our scholars today. So that's why, my sisters, brothers, you be careful. Okay, you be careful what you see. And if you see something on somebody's bringing a case to you, and on YouTube about the Quran, and he start talking, you go in that chat room and say, "Hey, Yahya, please tell me where you get your sources from. Where's the tafsir on this?" You have the right to know, because you don't want to be misled, because you'll get blamed for it. If you follow that, you'll get blamed for it. Okay, so I'm just giving you this warning. If you don't feel comfortable with something, you say, "Give me your sources." Well, what tafsir are you using? You have the right to ask for that. Some of them will not answer that question. They probably will block you. They may not even want to answer that. But then you get away from them, because they're bad news. They'll mislead you. I'll tell you that now. They will mislead you. I won't have nothing to do with them until they repent and get away from that. I won't have nothing to do with them. If they come back to me and say, "Yeah, I'm sorry. We shouldn't have done this with it," then I'm back with them. But right now, they're wayward. They are wayward. And I will not stand by and let them misuse brothers and give them wrong information. There's no such thing as dancing around the Quran and Sunnah. There's no such thing as dancing around the tafsir of the Quran as well. Either you know it or you don't. If you don't know it, you need to be taught it. And it's not easy. Even I'm still learning today. And it's not, you will learn for many, many years how to read this Quran. And you have to get it from the scholars. Now, one of the essentials of the tafsir is the Arabic. There's no such thing as a scholar who speaks English. I don't care what they tell you in the United States. The guy, you see him briefly talking on TV in English. He's not a scholar. The scholars, one of the criteria of teaching Islam and the rules of fiqh is Arabic. He has to understand the book of Subhanahu wa Ta'ala in the original language it was revealed in. If he cannot understand, how can he be a scholar? Don't be fooled, my dear brothers and sisters. And we have them on YouTube today. They're talking on the Quran, they're talking this and that, and they can't speak Arabic, or they can speak a little bit of Arabic. And you ask them about a certain verse, they can't even understand it or even read it, let alone give the tafsir for it. They cannot. You get away from them. I'm giving you my advice. You stay away from them, because you can't, they'll lead you to the fire. Because that's the criteria for that. You must understand Arabic. All of the scholars from way back said the same thing. You must understand the Arabic language in order for you to teach. You can't teach with English. Yes, I'm teaching you in English because why? I'm translating what I know and learn. And what I mean by that is, see here, you can see this here. All my notes here I have. Everything's in Arabic. I don't write in English. And so when I talk to you, I'm translating everything I have here in Arabic, because I learned the Arabic language, alhamdulillah, and the tafsir I'm still learning as well. But as I write, when I write about things like these issues here, I write everything in Arabic, and I translate the English for you, because I know many of you don't understand that, and there's no problem. That's a difference. I'm talking about the person who cannot speak and read and write Arabic, and he tries to teach you. Stay away from him. He may give you some things, but most of the things he cannot give you, because he can't go deep. Like right now, we're talking about issue of essentials of our Aqeedah, our faith. It's in Arabic. the books, the most famous books and the best books are in Arabic. Like the book I have here is in Arabic, and it's a beautiful book to understand the essentials that I use here that I'm talking to you about today. Now, I want to get to now to the nuts and bolts of something. I'll come back to some of these other issues here about Islam, but we're running out of time because I don't want to keep you guys much longer. I used a term earlier about tahrif al-kalam, corruption of the words. You know what this means? Subhanahu wa ta'ala uses in the Quran. You take his words and you corrupt it. It's a grave sin, and you will receive punishment for it. Meaning, you take a portion of the Quran and you misuse it. You decipher the words wrongly, and then you convey this message to other Muslims or to a non-Muslim. As I told you earlier, what happened, remember with our African-American sister who was told something wrong by this brother who's on YouTube as we speak today. Now, he comes on regularly and he gives misinformation. And so this is important. That's very important for us to know that. That the corruption of the kalam is a serious issue. Matter of fact, Subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about this. I'm gonna get to this point up here. I'm trying to get my, I got many proofs here about this. Now, this tarif al-kalam, Subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about this in Surah 41, which is Fussilat. He talks about that issue. I'm going fast. I'm giving you some of the proofs. I wrote some of the proofs down, but it's in Arabic. I forgot. But you see the numbers, and if you take it and translate it, you'll see the surah, because I wrote everything in Arabic. Please forgive me, because sometimes I forget about that. And I wrote some of the proofs that I have there in Arabic language. Please forgive me for not translating that, but you can get it and translate that. I think I have it in the chat. And there's the proofs on this. And I want to give you one of the proofs that is very, very telling. And you remember this, my dear brothers and sisters. Surah 4, Nisa, about the woman. 4. There's the verse 46. Subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about what I said. If you pull that up, and you remember, I think I wrote it down in the chat there, but again, it's the 4th surah, and the verse is 46. Subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about this, about the same thing. I'm getting it from what he talks about here. And he talks about the punishment upon the person. And he talks about I'll say a little bit here and about those who corrupt the words and talk and about these words of his words in the Quran, and he misuse it. You read this verse in English, it's clear cut. It's scary. Many people don't even understand this verse, meaning they don't even read it. This is why I said to you why I'm harsh about the brothers who get on YouTube and talk about the Quran. And they in violation of this here. 46 talks about them. He talks about, Subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about them. They give us guidance to tell you stay away from them, that his punishment is coming down on them. My dear brothers and sisters who are doing this, I hope they come back to the right way. When a brother comes with knowledge and he tells you, give you something, and you check it out and it's true, you don't throw him out. You don't disk him, and you don't do things and to throw him out of your group because you want to pervert the word of Subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm telling you the truth. This is what has happened with me now. And those brothers who done that, I don't have nothing to do with them for what they've done. because this verse here tells you what they have done. Here, perverted the word subhanahu wa ta'ala. You should not listen to them. Now, they can get mad all they want. I don't care. They know how they can reach me. I have proof. I'm using the proof from the Quran. When I went to them and tried to explain to them about the nature of how things are done in Islam, how to give the tafsir, how to do it right, they fought me. Some fought me. And to the point where I had no other choice. Okay, I have to be away from them. And this verse here tells you why I had to walk away from them. And subhanahu wa ta'ala tells you here about the corruption of the word. If you read that verse, it's self-explanatory. Now, we go to another issue in here. Did they knowingly do this? If they knowingly did this, it makes them disbelievers. Because he tells you down here at the last of the verse, okay, I'm looking at it in the Arabic language here. He says here about but however, he says, the punishment of Allah upon the disbelief. And they only believe a little. Now you think about what subhanahu wa ta'ala says. Here you have a group of people here don't want to follow a man of knowledge. They don't want to follow the Quran and Sunnah and the tafsir. They want to do their own thing, and they want to make up their own words on the Quran and the Sunnah. What he says here, subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is 46, verse 46. He talks about our dear brothers who are doing this. Okay, now, are they disbelievers? You know, that's a question, isn't it? He's talking about here. Did they do this on purpose? Did they want to mislead you and me on purpose? So what is their objective? When a man of knowledge comes to them and tell them, look, this is the tafsir of this is the way you do it. And they say, no, they don't want to follow the tafsir. They say, well, we want to do something else. And then when they get on the shows, on many of these shows they have, okay, many of them, then they go and do what? And they pervert the word. So why do they do that? When they know that they're wrong, because the man of knowledge gave them the knowledge and told them that you cannot do this. I didn't want to give them all kind of tafsir about what this, that. I said, no, I gave them to them. I said, look, you research what I'm telling you. And they refused. So here, subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking a question. And he says, his punishment on their disbelief. Because why? They didn't want to use the tafsir and they misused it. And so I hope my dear brothers, some of them who fought me in some other places here, I don't have to say no names. I'm going to do that. I'm not here for that. That they hear me today and they get this verse and they pull it out. Instead of them getting angry with me, they should be angry with themselves. Because when someone comes to you, try to give you the right thing and you tell them no. I want to follow my way. And then they get on. I heard them on the TV another day back, and with some of the things they were bringing tafsir from all over the place. When they said, no, we don't want to get into the tafsir. I asked a question. Even if you're doing dawah, you must have knowledge, and you must have knowledge of the Arabic language, and you must have knowledge of the Quran and the Sunnah, because when the non-Muslims, like our dear sister, say our dear sister here, we have Bina, okay? Our dear sister, she come with questions, and maybe she asked me a question. She says, Yahya, I got a question about this. I'm a woman and so forth. And if I come to Islam, what happens when my monthly cycle? Do I have to pray? Say if I didn't know that answer, and I go to her and say, hey, sister Bina, look, I'll get back to you in 2 weeks. She's going to say, what kind of Muslim is this? He can't answer my question. Now I'm going to force her to run all over the place and to try to find the answer. This is why it's essential that if you're going to do dawah, invitation to Islam, to bring people to Islam, you better know your subject. You better know the Quran. You better know the hadiths. And you should know it first before you get out on the street to make dawah. And you should have command of the Arabic language. Because if the Gaira Muslim, the non-Muslim, some of them read Arabic because they studied in college. And they come to you and they say about a verse and you don't know it. You can't read it. You get the English version of it to read it. He's gonna look at you and say, whoa, what kind of Muslim are you? You can't read this? Invitation to Islam, dawah is very difficult. And it takes a special type of knowledge to do it, and patience. And you can't go and play with the Quran and Sunnah like some of them are doing now, and they leave the tafsir over here. I never seen anything like it. And I hope my brothers learn from this and they hear me today and they get away from that and they come to the right way and get the tafsir and learn it, or go and learn from a reputable brother. There's some brilliant brothers, African American Muslims in the United States. I have names of many, and you can follow them, and they're on YouTube. Those brothers, their Aqidah, their faith is good, and they can teach you. You can learn from them. There's many more I may not even know, but I know some of these here. These guys are good. Their Aqidah is good. You can learn from them and you can trust them, and they'll give you the right information. And again, the key is the information that you get that is verified. When that person can come to you and say, hey, look, you want proof about the tafsir? Here it is, Nisa, verse 46. See, that's the proof here. Talk about subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'll say a couple more things here, and then I'll stop for tonight, because I know this is long, but this is the beginning of, again, our Aqidah. And you have to, these courses are usually between 30 to 50 courses, because you have to break it down. And I will get to the last, and then I will stop here. There's many proofs about, we're talking about this tarif al-kalam and how dangerous it is. I just explained to you already the verse, subhanahu wa ta'ala has put his adab, his punishment on them. The other part of it is the word you saw probably in my briefing thing on the program, sunnah istabdal. This is part of that, but it's more encompassing. This is a very deep subject. It covers everything from the samawat, from the heavens to the earth. But there's a part of this that is essential, where you change something that should not be changed, because subhanahu wa ta'ala, again, he said he perfected the religion, right? So you went to go ahead and change it, and this becomes that, and then you spread it, because through media, I'm giving you wrong information, like that, about like with the dear sister and over there in California, and I pass wrong information. I go tell all the sisters who's listening around the world, yes, your husband can confine you to a house. See, now he just changed something, and he's hurt, and he spread it through the world. He changed it. This is sunnah istabdal. And we have brothers doing it on YouTube today. That's right. And this is serious as well. And it's the punishment, subhanahu wa ta'ala will come on them for that. This is why it's essential for us as brothers to get to understand our deen and get the knowledge from somebody. There's no harm in that. You get it. I don't care if you get it from a Russian Muslim. If he's good, he's got his Aqidah, and you check him out and you check out his work, you get that knowledge from him. Take it. And then you go teach somebody else, because that's what our religion is about. Don't do like some of our African American brothers are doing with the crab and barrel theory. They see one brother who goes to school and learn, and they try to drag him down, and then they disk him. Okay, they vilify him and throw him out. There's brothers that come to tears. They left out of Egypt, came out of Azhar. They came out of Medina many years ago. They came back to the United States, and the brothers and sisters, this was not the Tubab. This is our own people. They threw them out. And we still have that problem today. I'm trying to say, as you learn your deen, my dear brothers and sisters, I don't care where you get it. The man who is a Tubab means European or white American or whatever, white man, European man of ancestry. Tubab in this African language in Mindi and Mandinka. If he comes to Islam, he's your brother. He's not your enemy. You have to understand that. He comes. If he's got the knowledge, you get it from him. I don't care where you get it from. If you get it from another Muslim, he's grounded in the faith, you take it and you learn from him. There's no harm in that, my dear brothers and sisters. There's no harm. Even if you are a brother and there's a sister scholar out there, you get it from her. Because we had that. Yes, in Islam, we had scholars, we had sisters who were scholars who actually taught. That's right. And the most famous scholar was the famous wife of our prophet. She's the third source, that the most credible source of Islam is her, Aisha, radiallahu anha. Her. That's right. Now she's a woman, right? So we can get the knowledge from her. We can get the knowledge from her. So get that knowledge where you can before you come on YouTube and start to go and corrupt the Quran and the hadiths and the tafsir. You should get that knowledge first before you do that. I'm here 15 years later. Would I come on YouTube, say 8, 9, 10 years ago? No, I would not. I didn't have no knowledge for that. I couldn't. I'm still learning. I'm still learning today. I'm a student of knowledge. I could not come on TV. I could not come on YouTube or anything to do this. But some of these brothers doing it, and it's shameful. So anyway, I gave you some of the essentials today, my dear brothers and sisters. I know I've been kind of long, and please forgive me for that. I wanted to get some of the essentials of Islam to you. We'll graduate into other parts, and then we'll get into now the prayer. And my dear brothers and sisters, my wife can testify to some things. There's some bizarre things going on with Muslims in prayer. I mean, they're doing all kinds of things. We will, inshallah ta'ala, we will settle some of those issues that we have where you ask questions about salat. What happens when you're walking from your house to the masjid? What happens? I've talked about this many times. What happens when you enter the masjid and you see the imam? And the imam has already done 3 of the prostrations. He's done 3 prostrations. Now you come inside the masjid. What should you do? Those are things that we'll talk about, inshallah, as we graduate to learn to practicing our religion, because this is essential in our religion, is the salat. Okay. And even before that is the wudu, our purification. There's a lot of things going on out there is wrong as far as purification. I mean, I show my hands here. There's people that take water and in their left hand, okay, and they make wudu from the left with the water here, which is wrong. This is some of the things that I'm getting ahead of the story. There's some things they're doing wrong. You take water and you do your hands. You wash with this. Is the first step of the wudu. But if you use the bathroom, that's another issue altogether. But again, we have a lot of things going on that's wrong. And without wudu, your prayer is not good. The wudu is our purification, absolution that you must do before your prayer. We'll get into those issues. As a matter of fact, I may have a sister, inshallah ta'ala, will talk to other sisters to get them to understand, because there's certain needs that the women have as far as prayer. I should not discuss, because it's embarrassing for me to discuss those issues, and women know what I'm talking about. And another woman should talk about those issues. And hopefully, inshallah, I can have a sister come on and to do that, to teach the sisters about their deen, about salat, and some of the things, the personal things that they have, childbirth, after childbirth, their monthly cycles, and so forth and so on. And alhamdulillah, I hope that I can do that, inshallah ta'ala. And last, in closing in this, again, I'll give a brief summary. The essentials of Islam, the fundamentals of Islam is very simple. You believe in subhanahu wa ta'ala only. You believe in the revelation that he sent down to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. You believe in his book, the Quran Kareem, and you follow it, and you learn it, and you keep it, and you practice your religion with your hands, your mouth, your eyes, your mind, and you propagate the religion. These are our essentials. And you stay away from things that subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want. Disbelief. Stay away from the things that are haram. You learn the religion. If subhanahu wa ta'ala says no to fornication, you stay away from fornication. He tell you that in many places. You know how subhanahu wa ta'ala feels about that. And things that is haram, meaning forbidden, you stay away from that. The things that are good, you strengthen yourself in that prayer, reading the Quran, learning the Deen. You strengthen yourself in that because this is something that is essential. The bare essence of our religion is these little things like this what I'm talking about. And the submission meaning, again, as I said, with the heart, not only just talking, but also with the heart, that you carry this in your heart. And when you have the iman and you have the feeling inside you, you'll see as a man, you'll start to shed more tears when you hear the Quran recited, or you hear beautiful recitation and you cry, or there's some things that's happening and you cry before Subhanahu wa ta'ala in your prayer. We're men. We've been taught basically not to do this. But when you humble yourself as a Muslim, you'll know that we're just a small creature, and we're under the submission of our Lord. And so we cry. We should cry because that cry is a purification. We all know that when you shed those tears, is a purification. So so you take your religion and you follow it, and you learn the Deen, the religion, and you understand the religion, and then you stay away from the things that make Subhanahu wa Ta'ala angry by what? Misusing, as I talked about earlier, his words in the Quran, taking the Quran and spreading false information about it. Stay away from that, those essentials. Stay away from the people that can mislead you. Okay, if you see somebody, you see this guy Yahya on TV, and you say, you know what? I heard him talk about this, but he never gave us any ayats in the Quran. He never gave us any proof. He never talked about the book where he got it from. He never talked about issues like this. Then you should investigate that. If you don't feel good about it, go away from that. Don't go to someone to mislead you. And as I said, my dear brothers and sisters, remember I said, you see the stuff on YouTube, you have the right to say, hey, Yahya, I seen you talking about this. What is your knowledge on this? Can you explain the tafsir to this? You know, you should ask that in the chat room. There's nothing wrong with that. You ask that question there. You say, hey, where are you getting your information from? You talking about this hadith? Where did you get that from? Or is there another hadith to complement this? They should be able to answer those questions. They can't answer it. You get off that chat and get out of there. Run away from them because they'll hurt you. And that's why I'm a warner today to tell you, because there's a lot of stuff on the YouTube today. It's wrong. And I can't look at it. I see some stuff that's going on. I can't watch it. I see that. So how can he use this? How can he say this? How can he do that? I see it and I just get frustrated. I said, no, I blurted out. I won't even go to the chat to talk to them because it's no use. They're convinced this is the way they're going to do. So my dear sisters and brothers, I want to thank you today, my dear brother Isaac. Thank you. You're a soldier, my dear brother, and I love you, my dear brother. You're always here to hear me speak, and you're on other platforms as well. And I appreciate you, and I know Subhanahu wa Taala, inshallah, will grant you the knowledge that you seek. And you know what? You keep praying, my dear brother. Okay, you keep praying. Ask Subhanahu wa Taala to bless you and to give you this knowledge. There's nothing wrong with that. I've done the same thing. I asked, I cried. I took the Quran, I couldn't read it in Arabic. And boy, I cried, and and it took me 1 year to read it from cover to cover in Arabic. It took me 1 year at that time to read it because it was so difficult. And then I made the dua and then all of a sudden Subhanahu wa Ta'ala opened the doors for me. Alhamdulillah. So my dear brother, this, inshallah, this will happen with you. You keep asking questions. You keep going to the platforms and you look and you learn. You keep reading, my dear brother, and Subhanahu wa Ta'ala will reward you for that. And my dear sister, Mina, thank you for showing up. She's my sister here in Morocco. And she goes on many platforms, and I'm glad she comes here to support me. She's a Moroccan, so I'm here in Morocco too. I'm a Moroccan, as far as I'm concerned, as well. So she's here to support me, and we have our dear sister Abina. She's a home girl. I understand from Compton, and that's where I was raised. So I got to shoot out the love to her because she's from the hood. So I can't forget that, my humble beginnings and so forth. And and I appreciate our dear sister Abina, because she's always on other platforms, and also Mina as well. And I'm happy that they come here to support me. So, my dear brothers and sisters, it's been a long night. I'm sorry to keep you at this stage, but I had to get you some of the essentials, and we will cover some more, inshallah, in a couple of days, if Subhanahu wa Taala lets me do it, and we'll cover some more of the essentials of our religion, so that way you can have the knowledge about your religion. So I will leave you, my dear brothers and sisters, with the words of peace that we say to one another. And I only hope for your success in this life and the life hereafter, and that Subhanahu wa Ta'ala protects you from the enemies and from the devil and his workers who are trying to take us from the religion and whatnot. And hopefully Subhanahu wa Ta'ala will bless you and protect you with that. So I'll leave you, my dear brothers, with our Islamic greetings. Assalamu alaikum, rahmatullahi, barakatuh.